Are you struggling to plot your book, or maybe you just get to the middle and then you're stuck and you don't know what to write next? I've got a plot plan for you that will help you move forward and keep action turning in your book. You can download a free master plot plan on my website. The link is in the bio and in the description, because this will help you get started and you can follow along in this video series. This is part 1, but be sure to stay tuned for parts 2 and 3, because then you'll get the entire plot picture. Just like the series I did on characters, this will be broken into different parts, just so it's easier to absorb and take in and apply. Just don't forget to hit subscribe and notifications so that when the videos drop, you know right away. If you're working on a book, this will help you enormously. So let's get started. There are 2 kinds of plots, and we're only going to tackle the first kind in this particular series of videos, and then we will tackle the other part, because I think people sometimes get them confused, and I will talk about why and how that happens as we go through this series. If you've downloaded the master plot plan, then you'll see that we're dealing with the external plot first. An easy way to remember what the external plot is the physical, tangible things that happen in the book. You absolutely have to have an external plot, because it's what keeps the action moving, and action is what keeps people turning the pages, but it's not what keeps people hooked. That we're going to get to in another video. I've published 85 books in 24 countries, so I've done this a few times, and every time I go through these exercises so that I can be sure that I've really got my plot nailed down and I know where I'm going with the book. Now, you can start your book in what's called the ordinary world. We've talked about plot diagrams before in other videos, but I'm going to put it back up here again for you now. The ordinary world is basically the character's day-to-day life, and then something comes along that changes it all of a sudden. In Shrek, his ordinary world is just sitting in his mud hot tub and enjoying his life and avoiding all the people with the pitchforks. What brings along the change and creates the goal for the movie Shrek is when the fairy tale creatures are dumped into his swamp.
What?
That changes everything for him, and now his ordinary life is totally thrown out of whack. If you look at Wednesday, what changes her world is being sent to Nevermore, where there's a wide variety of people. She's not with her family, and she has to make friends and begin to sort of kind of fit in her own Wednesday way. So I want you to start with kind of knowing where your character is before the book starts. Why should you know the ordinary world of the character? Because you want to know what the character is going to be giving up by going after this goal. Here's your writing exercise. Write down a paragraph or 2 of the character in their ordinary world so you know what they're giving up when they go after this goal. Absolutely need something that gets that character off their couch, out of their ordinary world, and into this world where they're going to go after this goal. And that is called the trouble. The trouble is the catalyst that changes everything. This catalyst has to be strong enough to move them to action. It has to be big enough to move them to action. The world coming to end, pretty big catalyst. Getting superpowers, pretty big catalyst. A tornado touching down, pretty big catalyst. For your writing exercise, I want you to write down whatever that trouble is. Remember, it has to be big enough to force the character out of their comfort zone. Shrek would have never left the swamp if he didn't have all those fairy tale creatures there. He would have never gone into the real world otherwise. Once you kind of know the character's ordinary world and you know the trouble that sets the catalyst for change, now you need to know what the character's goal is, and that is formed by that trouble. That trouble forces the character in a new direction, and in order to get out of that direction or to solve the problem that they have been saddled with, they need to have a goal. Your book is a snapshot in time, a specific snapshot in time for the character's life when they change and grow and learn. And this goal, this external goal that they have, is part of that growth lesson. The other thing you should know about goals is they should be difficult to achieve. If the goal is just to say, refinance the mortgage on the house, then the character goes into the bank, gets a refinance, boom, done, the book is over. That's not difficult to achieve. You want it to be something that takes several steps and requires the character to grow and change. So let's give you some examples of external goals so that you can figure out the one for your particular character. In The Last of Us, Joel is just going along when all of a sudden he is saddled with Ellie. That goal, that quest, is a physical thing. Ellie is a physical being. He's going to take her and get her to a physical location. So that's why this is the external goal. So here's your writing exercise. Write down what the character's goal would be for the whole book. Remember, it has to be something that is complicated and takes several steps to achieve. Now you want to start figuring out your scenes. They're all the things a character has to do in order to achieve their goal. In Taken, Liam Neeson has to do a whole bunch of things. Fly across the world, find the guy at the airport, then deal with the guy being dead, find an interpreter. There's a million steps that he has to take. Same thing in Die Hard and all of these other movies that have really strong external plots. So look at that goal you wrote down and write down 10 steps that the character's going to have to take in order to achieve it. A lot of people will ask, can I have more than 10 or can I have less than 10? You want to have enough meat in your book for the reader to keep reading and to wonder if things are going to work out. So when you have like 5 or 6 steps, it seems like it's done too easily. Can you have more than 10? Absolutely. There can be a lot involved in achieving this goal, depending on how complicated and difficult it is. Now, go back to the goal you had before. And if you want to have plot twists, things that will surprise the reader, then you've got to come up with some. For your writing exercise, write down 10 ways things could go wrong. I like 10 because it gives you enough to really get started on the book and get a good chunk of it done. That's it. You have a goal. You have some plot twists. You have at least 10 steps to make it happen. But you do need more in order to have a really fully developed plot that the reader buys into, which is what we'll cover in part 2 and in part 3. Fill out your plot plan. Get your goal really nailed down and really think about what those scenes can be and how things can go wrong. To go on to the next step of your plot, then hit subscribe and the notification button because we'll be dealing with motivation and conflict next. And those are really key to making your plot believable. If you want more on characters, then I highly suggest you go back and watch the 3-part series on character development, and will help you a lot when we get to part 2 of plot, which is motivation. If you have a question about any of this, just drop it in the comments. I'd love to answer it on a future video because I really want to help you write a really great novel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the other side of the page.